And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flighting downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
If the methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. Keep red. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second internet rocket of the day. We are here looking at a Falcon 9 vertical and ready to launch Starlink 12-10 in just 58 minutes from now. My name is Adrian Bile. I'm your host for today's stream, and I am joined by two commentators in the field that will provide excellent commentary today, starting with, now on the ground again, Max Evans.
Yes, now back on the ground again, indeed, and now back at the Kennedy Space Center, having a lovely look over at Launch Complex 39A, ready to send off Falcon 9 in just under 1 hour's time.
Thank you so much for that, Max. And I'm also, I will ask you some questions about that because I have some questions about shooting a launch from a helicopter. So get ready for that. Also in the field, we have Sawyer Rosenstein. Sawyer, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, guess what? There's a rocket. Oh, wait, that launched already. Hey, wait, there's another rocket launch. It's good to be here. And you know what? Let's do it again. It was so great the first time.
Absolutely. And just, Sawyer, do you mind giving us a quick overview? Launching today.
Sure. So launching today, we have more Starlink V2 mini satellites. And as always, this is not your ordinary Starlink because it is the second internet satellite launch of the day. While the first one was the Kuiper satellites, today we have 23 of the Starlink V2 mini satellites divided into 10 of the regular V2 minis and 13 of the direct to cell, which have a special antenna that allow special LTE connections back down to Earth so that phones will be able to access the Starlink internet network from space right here on Earth. And this one being a Group 12 mission usually means that is the case in terms of the split payload, and also usually means that this is going towards the southeast today.
There we go. Thank you so much for that, Sawyer. And also completing the NSF night shift here, we have D-Wise in the field as well. And behind the scenes, Kevin Michael Reed for the second time as well today, pushing buttons and pulling levers and doing the magic things to make all of this image and sound work. So
it's actually the third time today. Just saying.
Sorry. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. I totally forgot Firefly. I'm sorry, Kevin. But actually, before I dive deep into this mission and like this countdown, I want to go to you, Max, here because you shot a rocket launch from a helicopter today, right?
Yeah, so the Atlas V rocket that flew just over 2 hours ago, myself and a good friend of mine were up in a helicopter, the same one we use for the Cape and KSC flyovers here on the Space Coast. And we were just south of Port Canaveral, hoping to get a good view of the landscape of the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, with the landscape leading up to Space Launch Complex 41, where Atlas V, of course, launched from. We were at about 5,500 feet with the doors off, so it was quite the I don't want to say it was intense. It was actually rather calm because there wasn't much wind up there. The air was pretty smooth, despite the I don't want to say ominous cloud cover, but there were a lot of clouds in the area, which did take away from the viewing a little bit because if we went any higher, then the clouds that were below us would have blocked the landscape, and the shot wouldn't have looked as great. But if we were any lower, we wouldn't have had as good of a view of the landscape as we did. So we had to kind of compromise and go up at about an altitude that was somewhat in between where we wanted to go. But you know what? Atlas 5 got off the ground. We got some good shots, and it was an incredible experience. I'm hoping to do that again with more fair weather next time. But in order for that to happen, ULA has to get another Atlas 5 or a Vulcan rocket back out on the pad. But certainly a bucket list item that has been on my list to check off for a while, and can finally now do it. And I hope others can enjoy the experience if they want to as well. It's not necessarily cheap, but it is 100% worth it if you time it right, even though that is tricky to do sometimes, but 100% worth it, guaranteed.
There we go. Thank you for that, Max. And I hope you enjoyed the experience, even though the clouds made it a bit annoying.
It's part of the game, Adrian. That's just how the ball rolls sometimes.
Yeah, it's the clouds. Okay. We have another thing that makes this a very much not your ordinary Starlink here. Sorry, and that is the booster of this mission. Do you mind giving us a quick overview of, I will set the history of this booster?
Yeah, that is a good point. So the history of the booster that is flying today is that it is the very rare Dash 1. So we have a new booster flying tonight, folks. I hope you are ready to welcome this newest one to the fleet. And this one, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 1094 now? Or 93?
It's 94 assumed.
Yeah, 94. Hopefully.
But there's a reason there's an there on air. It's a bit we don't have any label yet. We didn't like that would be something that we'll be able to see in the port. But there we go. At McGregor, there's a firing.
Yeah. Which, yeah, we won't be able to see that until it's in port. You say that. I'm currently staring at booster 1069, which is in port right now at Port Canaveral while that's firing, by the way. So
that is another Falcon 9 second stage, by the way, test firing there.
Yeah, no,
it's non-stubby.
Well, it has to be non-stubby. Well, no, sorry, it has to be stubby when it's being tested because they can't exactly fire it at atmospheric pressures with that nozzle extension. Otherwise, you would get a bunch of flow separation and a very unhappy MVAC. But coming back to the booster, it's rather difficult to tell exactly which one it is. And the ways we are able to normally find out which booster is on the pad is if when we see it rolling by the press site, we are able to get cameras on it and pick out a serial number that is located just below the grid fins. And I don't think we actually caught this one going by, even though a bright white Falcon 9 booster can be difficult to miss sometimes, but alas, that is just the way it goes. And also, whenever SpaceX updates the information for their launches on the website, there is usually, if it's a used booster, there is a history of missions that are listed, and based on the missions that are listed, you're then able to reverse track and see which booster has flown those missions. And because there is a lack of history, we aren't 100% sure what booster is out at LC-39A right now, other than a bright shiny white one, which is a rarity in itself. But we will get an idea hopefully in just over 2 days, because that's about how long it takes for a Falcon 9 booster to come back now. Crazy considering 2 to 4 years ago it took anywhere from 3 to 4 days to come back at the earliest. Now it's around 2 days. So in around 2 days we should see it coming back into Port Canaveral, and we will have confirmation as to what booster number is flying, but we will have to wait until then.
And I also see some comments in chat being like, well, you could just, like, they go in order, right? And the interesting thing is, they don't. They sometimes... Yeah, like...
There is no order sometimes.
Yeah, like, sometimes they come out, like, in a different order than you would expect. Sometimes they skip one. Sometimes one is assigned to, like, a Falcon, like, a Falcon Heavy Sidecore. Sometimes they, like, just have to... Like they skip one, and so it's like, yes, we are relatively sure this is the booster we expect. Like, we are relatively sure it's 94, but we don't want to say it's confirmed 94 because then, yeah,
it's allegedly 94. And actually, we just had a shutdown of the Falcon 9 Stage 2 at McGregor.
Absolutely, and shout outs to the teams again that were there over the last, I think, 1 or 2 weeks that performed some major upgrades on McGregor, and we now have some even cooler views, even like better things to track. There, we spotted a Falcon 9 stage leaving. There's a second stage, some very clean Raptor 2. Really, really cool upgrades there, and some very great views that we are now getting from McGregor. So
3
thanks
years.
for that.
Yeah, it's been 3 years already since it went live. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Also, by the way, when you were talking about things going in order, what do you mean? This is totally the 10th actual flight of Group 12. Totally not all mixed up with numbers here.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. I feel like at this point, no Starlink group is in order anymore. I'm not sure if any of them is in order anymore. They just come as they please. So yeah, of course, 12 is the direct to sell in mixed one that we are shooting here. Like, I'm not sure if I'm like Max. So this is more a question for you. Like, is there like a big difference to you in terms of the groups? Like, do you feel different about them, or is it more like at some point it all washes a bit together?
I mean,
terms
it's
of, like, being
visually, in terms of what we're seeing launch wise, there isn't much really to differentiate what we're seeing other than where they're flying. And for the Group 12 and the Group 6 shells, they both fly in the same orbital inclination of 43 degrees southeast, which is just north of the Bahamas. So they all look very similar, albeit everyone does look a little bit different in terms of lighting and conditions and so on and so forth. But in terms of what we can actually see with our naked eye and where it's going, it's a Falcon 9 launching at night. That can only look different so many times unless you have some like extreme weather scenario around you, which in that case they're probably not flying. But visually there's not really much in the way to tell where exactly what is flying other than what we can read on SpaceX's website or based on any information that we have for notices and so on and so forth.
By the way, check that website because that is always a good indicator to see if everything is on track. And indeed, SpaceX is still stating that liftoff is targeted for 10:34 p.m. Eastern Time, with backup opportunities available until 1:31 a.m. Eastern Time. Which, can I just say, we hope they don't take? Like, yeah.
I think we're all on board with that one. And actually, we should be finding out in around 10 minutes. Well, actually, a little bit more, but in about 10 minutes, there will be the go, no-go poll from the launch director, whether or not they are go for propellant load aboard Falcon 9. And we will find out whether that begins at T-minus 35 minutes, not long after that. And then hopefully Frost will be... Well, actually, this is a rarity because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to see Frost on a brand new Falcon 9 because even though... we've all gotten used to just how dark and sooty Falcon 9s are, especially the more and more they fly. But it's easy to forget that it's bright white underneath all that soot, and frost doesn't contrast very well against a bright white finish. I think the best indicator that we'll have is if we see any condensation or vapors coming off the booster, and when the actual SpaceX logo on the side of the tanks begins to become obstructed by a wall of ice. But hopefully we should be able to find out in around 12 to 13 minutes time.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting. Like these, in a weird way, the perception of, like, at least in my mind, of how I think about the Falcon 9, in my head, the booster is sooty. Like, in a crazy way, like, white Falcon 9s feel off at this point.
It feels like a unicorn, honestly. Like we see them maybe at least between the two coasts. Well, actually, here at the Cape, we see it maybe 3 to 4 times a year. It's not often at all. And typically nowadays, brand new boosters debut with Starlink missions, I guess, to prove their flight worthiness. Because we have had some issues with Falcon 9 on their first flights before, and the most recent of which being 1069 on its first flight with CRS-24 way back at the end of 2021. That one came down pretty hard on the drone ship, whether that be to a miscalculation with the onboard systems or just timing the drone ship hitting a swell at the wrong time. It came down really hard. The landing legs crush cores were absolutely just crushed all the way, and a lot of the engine bells were crunched. And
absolutely, that was a sight.
That was. I mean, honestly, we all thought that booster was scrapped because that damage looked like it was deep into the thrust puck of the booster, and that is a very critical part of the entire rocket. Obviously, that is where all of your thrust is transferred to the rest of the vehicle. And sure enough, they were able to repair what damage was done, replace all 9 Merlins, and it has continued service up until recently, launching last Friday most recently. So, and actually, that is the booster you can see right now on Fleet Cam in Port Canaveral, as it was taken off the drone ship recently and has not yet had its landing legs retracted, nor has it been lowered onto its transport to come back to Hangar X. So.
Actually, you say that. I think the legs may be folding up as we speak.
As we speak? Enhance.
I'm trying to see from where I am because I'm looking directly at it. I believe they were touching the ground when we started broadcasting.
Oh yeah. So if you look at the middle there, to the middle, a bit to the middle right, you can see B1069, and I believe that these legs are no longer on the deck.
Yeah, that is folding up as we speak right in front of my eyes. So I was just making sure I wasn't seeing things here.
Yeah, crazy, cool.
I mean,
cool
so
timing there,
you are seeing things, but you're seeing real things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see a lot of things, but this one's real.
Absolutely crazy. I have an interesting thing I read the other day, which I found just crazy. So we talked about earlier in the Atlas stream about how Kuiper needs like 60 to 80 launches to get decently close to their FCC goals. And then SpaceX just casually tweeted the other day, like, oh yeah, by the way, we just launched a 250 Starlink mission the other day. Like, I mean, Sawyer, most rockets don't fly 250 times. Falcon 9 launched the same payload that much.
Yeah, that is quite a large number of missions. And I know early on, when they were launching 60 at a time and a couple times a month, now we're launching 23 here tonight, sometimes up to 28, and we're launching them 2 to 3 times a week just from the Cape. That doesn't count the one that happened at Vandy earlier, too. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, this will also be the 50th launch of Falcon 9 this year. And we're in April. So, yeah, kind of crazy. There, by the way, you can see legs going up.
Woo, okay.
This
I'm
is
not
actually
just
kind of
seeing things. Cool.
No, you're not. And this is actually kind of a rare process that we never normally see on a stream live. Of course, you can always check it out on Space Coast Live whenever you want, 24/7. But having this live is actually a real treat, and we can actually get a really good look at what actually happens in order to retract those landing legs between the crushed cores and all of its supports, and how it mates to the tank structure.
Which is also a process that is so much refined, right? Because in the early days, they used to also sometimes just take these legs off.
Yes.
They took them off and then they reattached them and all of that. Like there was so much refinement and in that process. It's crazy. And of course that helps them to reach these crazy turnaround times for boosters, because that's all the time you save to not that you don't spend like reinstalling legs. So, yeah, absolutely crazy to see this right now. Cool that we see this while another rocket is getting ready to launch. I also want to thank some people here, starting with Kevin Harrington with Super Chat saying camera fund and pun tokens too. Yeah, thanks for the camera fund, I will say. And thank you so much.
No thanks for the pun token. Come on.
Absolutely not.
But hey, absolutely, thanks for
this. Oh, come on. I appreciate doing the heavy lifting, especially as Falcon 9 goes through leg day right now.
I am...
Silence. The silence was absolutely perfect.
That's the most deafening silence I have ever heard on an NSF stream.
Yeah, that was harsh. No, okay, absolutely thank you. Absolutely thank you for that support. This is the support, like the reason why we can do these late night Starlinks. Like, that's totally part of it.
We don't fold under pressure like the landing legs do for Falcon.
God. Absolutely.
There, that was less silent. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was better. Ethereal Swordsman also with super chat, actually with 2 super chats coming in here saying that was a very fast turnaround on second stage on McGregor. They just put that stage onto the stand 6 hours ago or so. Very impressive. And I mean, they have to, right? They have to basically get a static. Oh, there's another firing at McGregor. This is the second fight. That's a Raptor, right?
That's a Raptor, yeah, and it might be Raptor 3.
If it's so there's an interesting thing with Raptor 3 flight now. I'm not sure if everybody knows this, so I will just mention this. Raptor 3s tend to fire for 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Just out of complete coincidence,
Of course they do.
Yeah, but this should be a Raptor 2, actually. It's usually used for Raptor 2. So this is... But it's kind of funny that... Because there was a, like... Why are they firing Raptor 3s for 260 seconds? Oh, that's why.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Kind of find it pretty consistent. But yeah, that's another Raptor firing. This is the second test we've so far had on McGregor Live since the stream has started, and we are just 21 minutes in.
Yeah, 2 firings, a landing leg fold, and oh yeah, we had 1 launch earlier and another one upcoming. That's all.
And 1 more tomorrow morning, hopefully, with Firefly.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory why they are testing so much McGregor, right? They have to. Like, if you think about second stages, they build 1 second stage per launch. So they have to build one, like, what, every 2 to 3 days? That's insane. And then test it, of course. And that firing is still going.
How long has this one been going so far? I can't read the numbers. It's too small on my screen.
It will tell us after the firing is done. Then it will appear in the handy little top bar. But it apparently gimbaled as well. Like we saw some gimbaling of the Raptor, going up and down. So that's kind of cool.
It would be so cool to have a camera of sorts right next to any of those test stands over there at McGregor. Golly. That's also a bucket list thing on mine.
And just a camera in the flame trench?
Not quite at the flame trench, but near it to get some detail in the Raptor plume because it is very pretty.
So still going. This is a juicy firing.
That's a good word for it.
And for all we know, it could be a flight-proven Raptor from one of the most recent super heavy boosters that was caught and brought back to the production site, but we have no way of confirming that. This is just pure speculation.
Absolutely. By the way, I see some notes about that in the chat. The list in the top is manually imported of past test. That's like the past test that happens and stuff like that. It's like a logging. So, there you go. It's not future test. We don't have any insight about future tests.
No, but shout out to the amazing team that works on McGregor Live that manually tracks each one, how long it is, and puts that in.
So I'm having a prediction here from Thomas Hayden, our editor, and also like a person that follows my McGregor closely. Thomas predicts this firing goes until 9:00:18. I will put you on the spot here, Thomas.
So that would be 10:00:18 Eastern.
Yep, so basically another, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Which is, these fires for so long. But yeah, there's some very, like, the reason why Thomas is saying is like, there's some very, like, comparable profiles sometimes with McGregor. So basically, like, you can spot what kind of profile they're using. Of course, sometimes they also go weird. And well, the weird tests that are
in the meantime, chaps, while Raptor is guzzling liquid oxygen and liquid methane at the moment, Falcon 9 should hopefully begin to receive some RP1 and liquid oxygen aboard its first and second stages in just under a minute from now. By now, the launch director would have pulled either go or no go to proceed with prop load for tonight's launch. And we will hopefully begin to see frost in just a few minutes' time. But at T-minus 35 minutes, RP1 and LOX begin loading onto the first stage. And also, that is also when stage stage 2 RP1 load also proceeds. They don't proceed to load liquid oxygen into the upper stage until the T-minus 20 minute 20-second purge vent is done from the transporter erector in order to thermally condition the lines and such. So we are getting really close.
By the way, super
Kind of
smooth.
funny at
Hopefully.
this minute race. What will we spot first? Frost on the rocket or at the shutdown?
Oh, good lord, maybe.
Frost.
That's a bold. Oh,
Oh,
a flare from the flame stack. The flare stack.
yeah. That was
If it was
wild
methane, it'd be
flaring.
igniting in the flare stack.
Poor Jack. So
Hey,
it
he
should-
edits the intro. He put that clip in.
True. According to Thomas, close Thomas. But they're shut down. Very close. 10 seconds off. Honestly, not that bad.
Not
That's
that
really,
bad.
really impressive. Not that bad. Really impressive, honestly. There you go, Thomas. That was what? I don't know. Of course, the first. You think, of course, the first strange one in 12 days is the one on stream.
Funny how things work out sometimes. It's all Thomas's fault too. To be fair.
Of course.
It's commentator Jinx, to be fair as well. We said it on air. So
No. That was all Thomas.
yeah, I feel like we have some partial responsibility here.
No, none.
That's how it goes. Okay, sorry, it's just Thomas. 1 minute or so to Frost, I'm being told by Alex, and I see vapor there. Look at that. You can see vapor at the bottom of the rocket.
Is it on the transporter erector or is it on the tanks?
I think that's on the tanks. But that's at least the venting that I connect with positive things. By the way,
I hope so.
I'm being cued by Kevin here in the back channel, so I'm very bad at this. It's late. Okay, we're ready. This
It's been a long
trajectory
day.
is going southeast. Sire, what is so cool about southeast trajectory?
That it's not going northeast. No. Earlier, the Atlas V launch went towards the northeast, as we saw. This one is with the regular Group 6 and Group 12 missions going to the southeast, where you can see there the first stage will hopefully land on a shortfall of Gravitas, which will be located just north of the Bahamas there. Meanwhile, the second stage typically deorbits somewhere around the coast of South Africa, off towards Madagascar, during these typical trajectories. So that means, of course, anywhere towards the eastern side of Florida and southwest of Florida can also sometimes get a view of it as well. Definitely keep an eye out, because if it is anywhere as clear as it is right now here at the Cape, along the rest of the coast, you should get a spectacular view anywhere along eastern Florida. In fact, here's a great idea of when to look out for it. So, of course, this one's coming from 39A, which is about the same as 40 there. Should be able to see it in Titusville about 30 seconds after, if not a little bit less. Orlando within the first minute. Daytona Beach within the first minute. Then it continues southward. You get in towards Vero Beach, Fort Pierce. Those areas out west, you hit Tampa, St. Pete. To the north, you get Jacksonville. Then you hit the Palm Beaches, and then you move your way about 2.5 minutes into flight. That's when you start getting Fort Lauderdale in the mix, Miami in the mix, sometimes the Keys into the mix, and then, of course, the Bahamas will pretty much be visible shortly after that.
Did I just see that cube zoom correctly, by the way? I think I saw a cube zoom. I'm pretty sure I saw a cube zoom.
Better than the wipe transition.
Oh, jeez.
But hey, good news there, everybody. That is definitely a rocket venting. So, Max, what's about this Falcon 9 countdown, and why is this so significant for the T0?
Well, now at this point, since they have initiated prop load for Falcon 9's first and second stages, they are now committed to this T0 of 10:34 p.m. local time here on the east coast of Florida. They simply do not have the resources or the flat out ability to be able to resource either the vehicle or the ground systems that support Falcon 9 within the launch window provided. So once they begin prop load, they are committed. And also, because the fuels are super chilled, both the LOX and the RP1 are super chilled on Falcon 9's first stage, they cannot hold, because that propellant, once they close propellant load, that propellant is constantly rising in temperature and rising in pressure in the tanks, and they have no insulation on the tank walls. So it is they load and go for a reason. That propellant needs to stay super chilled as much as it possibly can. So at this point, they are committed, and we are hoping to see liftoff in just under 30 minutes.
There you go. Thank you so much for that explanation. Of course, now we will just witness 10 minutes of fueling before we will explain to you again the T-minus 20-minute vent. I love this question because it's a way for us to ramble a bit. Quartz is asking, is a double drone ship landing for Falcon Heavy mission possible? Sawyer, is it?
Is it possible? Yes, potentially. Is it likely? Not at all. So basically, the main thing is the drone ships are kind of a precious commodity right now, with the fact they're launching up to 2 to 3 times a week, with very few RTLS missions thrown in there at the moment. Those drone ships are like gold. So it will land on them. As Max was saying earlier, they've gotten it to the point where 2 days or less, you've got it back, and then it ships right out. If you land both of these side cores on the drone ship and then have to bring the drone ships back, for that entire time, you don't have any that you can use for regular Falcon 9 launches and landings afterwards. So at this point, it's more convenient for them to typically expend them if they're not going to be able to use them for an RTLS than it would be to put both drone ships downrange. Plus, no idea how it would work with both drone ships that close together in comparison to each other as opposed to what we see with LZs 1 and 2 here at the Cape.
There you go. That's your answer. Max, the
Sorry, I
the
didn't
legs are
ramble
going
enough.
up here.
The legs are going up.
So Max, after they have folded up these legs, what are they doing with these boosters?
Well, once all 4 landing legs are folded back up and reattached to the side of the booster, another crane will attach to the lower part of Falcon 9, and in combination with the crane that is on top, they lower the booster in tandem onto a horizontal transporter, and that then gets rolled back into the south gate at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and then rolled all the way up and around the base, up back to Hangar X, or Jiffy Lube, as some people call it, for a full service and refurb before its next assigned flight. Hopefully not too much, but as the boosters fly more and more and age, I'm sure they require a bit more love. But tonight's booster is brand new, so hopefully it should not need much before it needs to be sent back out again for its next flight.
Yep, and if I could point out a few things while I'm staring directly at it, they're starting up with the side legs in comparison to where the cameras are. So the one kind of closest to Rusty's, which is where we have our camera located there for Fleet Cam, and then the one behind it from that view, and then the other 2 will fold up. You can also kind of tell the operations are going. There's a little cap that they put on top. So like Max was saying, for them to be able to then lower it down afterwards, or first lift it off and then lower it, there's a cap that goes on it. It's got different blinking colored lights. Normally they're the same kind of red lights that you see for airplane warnings, but during activities, they flash blue and green.
They also apparently aborted the right leg? Or lowered it again? Because it lowered significantly just there.
Yeah, the right leg was close to the ground again. It's not on the ground, but it's close to it again.
Yeah, it's still going down. Like, I think we performed what is called a commentary jinx once again.
Tends to happen.
It's okay with it because I'm using it in my shot. So as long as it's still upright in just about 25 minutes, we'll be okay.
I think it will be upright in 25 minutes. Why did I say that?
You just jinxed it. Now it's going to be lowered.
Wow.
Somehow, some way.
Thanks, Adrian.
Yeah, totally. Adoya here asking, do we know the number for this new booster? We expect it to be 94, but we cannot confirm yet. Max, I'm throwing this to you. Why doesn't SpaceX clean the soot off the flown boosters?
Essentially, it takes too much time and effort to do that. The soot that builds up does not add any, despite how it looks and what one may think. Weight is everything on a rocket, but SpaceX obviously doesn't think or believe or know that it adds any significant weight to a booster. And if wherever they can save effort, money, and energy, they will do that. And obviously they have deemed that cleaning the soot off the boosters after each flight is not necessary. Now, once they get to certain flight milestones like flight 10, flight 15, flight 20, especially around flight 20, then you will start seeing these white lines on the booster where they have purposely wiped off the soot, and we presume that is where the Falcon 9 tanks are welded, and that is to inspect said welds in other small areas in other pieces around the booster. So they only wipe off what's needed, but more often than not, they don't need to. And wherever they can save time and effort, they will. So obviously, it isn't that big of a deal, at least according to SpaceX.
There you go. And I mean, to be fair, this SpaceX kind of has some good expertise at this point with flying boosters.
I would say so. Yes.
I would call them qualified.
I would say they are very well qualified at this point.
Absolutely, and we see Falcon 9 getting more and more frosty. We should actually I sometimes like to cover these bases a bit here, Sawyer. Why do we see frost? Why do we see condensation? Is that like venting from the rocket, or is that why do we see these kind of white plumes?
Well, that's because the propellants that are put into Falcon 9 are super chilled. So not only are they chilled down to a temperature at which they're liquid, they're done even colder than that. So as a result, they're allowed to, it densifies it more, which means they can get more propellant in to the same amount of area. So keep in mind also that Florida right now is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 20-ish Celsius. So it's pretty warm out. And compare that to negative 200, negative 400 degrees, you're going to have that temperature difference. So you will see a little bit of that venting on the outside just because of the condensation, because of how cold it is inside compared to the ambient temperature on the outside, and the fact that Falcon 9 has pretty thin walls in comparison to how cold everything is.
In a weird way, this also kind of functions as a progress bar, because we can literally see how much fuel is in there.
It is a physical progress bar, and as we can see, that right-hand leg has been lowered even more, probably down all the way. You know what? They might actually be doing that to disconnect something to be able to fold it back up again. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It could also be that they didn't like something doing folding and just want to have a quick look at it.
Yeah, but that's think happy thoughts, Adrian. Happy thoughts.
I mean, I'm thinking happy thoughts because like sometimes it's totally normal that you're like want to inspect something, right?
I mean, if it's not expected, it's not normal, is it?
Not always.
I would.
You have unexpected surprises that are good things.
I would say there's always a good chance that there's something they at least want to inspect that just happens sometimes. But that doesn't mean there's anything bad. It's just like these machines just go through a lot of stress, and they could always be like, I don't know, like a weird sound, like something they just want to inspect. That doesn't mean there's anything bad.
That is definitely back down, by the way, though.
Yeah. So yeah, that is quite a. We have quite a kind of funny like tracking stream here, like with Raptors firing, Merlin Vax firing, and Falcon 9 getting ready.
It's just another day in spaceflight, folks, and what an exciting time to be as a fan of spaceflight. There has never been a better time, and it's only going to get better.
Yep, it's gonna be a way more to track and way more cameras to be placed in the future.
And it's gonna be
many more cameras. Stop it! It's not April 30th yet, Sawyer.
Close, it's the 28th. All right. I mean, we're close to a bunch of things. We're close to May. You know, we're getting close to other major milestones here with Falcon 9. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean. That is totally something. I'm trying to stall time right now because I'm trying to set
me too.
It up,
I was trying to also. I was like,
we have been too early here.
It's only 21 minutes. I was trying to stall longer.
Hey, Max, in one sentence, how weather?
Weather good.
Weather good. That's good to hear. That's amazing to hear. I'm stalling time still because I'm trying to set it up. But Sawyer, I'm coming to you with a question here because in about 10 seconds.
There she blows.
There it is. There's the 20-minute vent. Sawyer, what is that vent?
Wow, that was perfectly timed, Adrian. So the vent that you're seeing now is the T-minus 20-minute, 20-second vent, which we nicknamed the best vent. It is actually a point where they chill down the lines there. So that means that RP1 is finished loading into the second stage. That's rocket propellant 1. Next up will be the liquid oxygen load. the liquid oxygen that they load is dramatically colder than the RP1. So what they need to do is they need to chill down those lines before they run the super cold liquid oxygen through it and then into the booster. So this will happen for about 4 minutes while they continue to chill down the lines. And then once that chill down is done and the venting stops, that means LOX load will be underway on stage 2.
I think actually the vent occurs at around T-minus 20 minutes and around I think the timing between pad A and 40 is a little bit different in that the vent occurs a little bit sooner over at 39A. At least according to our timeline. I saw the vent about 10 seconds sooner. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I might be crazy. But I think that's what happens. Uh-oh. Yeah.
Yes. Alex is agreeing with you.
Yes. Score.
Darn you, 39A.
Closer to 20 minutes and 30 seconds. I mean, that's basically congratulations, Max.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Max, for that, you get a very interesting question we just got as a reward.
I'm scared.
Steve Pemberton is wondering, does soot make the booster warmer during daytime launches, not reflecting as much sunlight?
I mean, probably. But they've probably taken that well into account by now, and they've had more than enough Falcon 9s reach very, very sooty points. So if it was to cause any problems, I'm sure that any problems that it would have caused, they would have corrected for it. But Falcon 9 first stage boosters experience a variety of temperatures on either end of the thermometer, if you will, between degrees of Celsius above zero, between the engine's ignition, the frost from the propellant, the re-entry heating, the forces associated with that. I don't think. I mean, just based on the color alone, I believe yes, it would absorb more heat. But of course, launching at night as well with a very sooty booster, there is no sunlight to absorb, so I can't really imagine that being a big issue. But I applaud you for where your brain is, because that could be a factor in play for other launch vehicles that are yet proven. But very good question, actually.
I wonder now if there's like a soot gradient almost like rating that SpaceX gives boosters because they have different temperature during fueling. Like maybe there's like a engineer being like, oh, this is like a 3 out of 10.
I mean, maybe? I don't know.
Yep. I'm just saying, like, I don't think this is impossible.
Nothing's impossible, Adrian.
Yeah, so I'm just saying it's
Except maybe a double drone ship landing for Falcon Heavy.
That's not you said yourself it was possible. So
right, I said
back that train right up, sir.
Ares 1 flying again, kind of impossible.
Okay, that's fair, and I'm happy about that.
Actually, yeah, you got me there. That's true.
Yeah, that's kind of impossible. So
you just made a couple of people very sad.
I don't know why I went there. Like they didn't provoke me today. I just went there.
Because it's the 4th launch attempt of the day here across the globe. That's why.
Yeah, at some point the Ares people have to take a hit. So yeah, we are still in the vent down here. As they are. I think they just finished that, and they are now into second stage LOX loading.
Affirmative. So, we are trending in the right direction here, folks.
Yeah, I mean, everything looks honestly picture perfect right now. I don't see any reason why this could. I won't even finish the sentence.
Stop it. Yeah, stop it. Classic commentator's jinx right there, Adrian. Halt that sentence right there.
This is a question I don't think even Alex can answer. I could bring it to Alex, but I don't think Alex can answer this. How many satellites has Falcon 9 launched in total?
Many.
Many is the answer.
Very many.
I think it's over
Alex
7.
is saying a lot.
Isn't it over 7,000 supposedly at this point? I remember when they hit 5,000 Starlink satellites, and that was about a year ago.
Yeah, it's a very high number, and certainly that's not a candle that many other rockets can hold too. But to divert a little bit, we have more spaceflight activity happening right now, folks. I don't know if our producers are ready to show the cameras from Starbase Texas, but it looks like Ship 36 is getting ready to roll back, if not roll back right now. So it's just a very it's just another Monday here in the U.S. Honestly, at this point.
I will just add it to the bingo list of ships that will move a lot before ship 35 at this point.
Wow,
Like,
that's
I mean, will it though? That's a great question that can be discussed in the latest Starbase update, which just came out a very short time ago. So make sure after the launch you check that out right here on NSF.
there is I wrote that, so I can tell you there's a lot about that. There's a lot about that. And also, if you really want to find out about Test Tank 17 and why Test Tank 17 is actually quite interesting, I would watch that. I will tease you with one thing. It has connection points for 70 actuators to test all kinds of different structural loads. It's honestly a really, really interesting machine. So check that out. I'm not sure if I won anybody ever with I talk about actuators, but hey, that's what we have.
Actually, we really do want to hear that.
So I will ask this question to Sawyer because I think Max wouldn't answer it properly. Do we have a stubby
Excuse
nozzle
me?
or a good? Tim's asking, do we have a stubby nozzle or a good nozzle on the second stage tonight?
I'm going to hijack this question right now. In that subby nozzle is good, but to answer the question,
Wrong.
Wrong. To answer this question, I'm Sawyer. I'm completely hijacking this from you. I'm not sorry. So Starlink payloads tend to be the heaviest that SpaceX tends to load on the Falcon 9, and that is why they're able to get such good data on how it performs under different loads, and that's why they were able to stack more and more Starlink V2 mini satellites inside the fairings, at least here from Florida. There used to be 23, then 24, and then we've seen as many as 27 Starlink V2 mini satellites at once, which is a lot, and the V2 minis weigh quite a lot as well, so it's no small feat. But because of that, they needed as much performance out of the vehicle in its entirety as possible, including the MVAC on stage 2. And now, what you get with the full-size nozzle is the most amount of performance that SpaceX engineered out of the MVAC by allowing the exhaust gases to expand further into its vacuum environment that it was designed to operate in. The downsides of a full-size nozzle are manufacturing cost between that niobium nozzle extension, as well as the mass added by that same nozzle extension. What you gain by a stubby MVAC nozzle is you lack the weight of that extension, and also the cost saved to make it or manufacture it or install it. What you lose is a little bit of performance from the MVAC as a result, and that tends to be saved for very specific payloads. We don't see it quite as often as I think anyone really expected, because to go through such an effort to engineer such a change to a very critical engine, you figured that they would use it more often than they do. But because of the sheer mass and weight and where the payloads are going tonight, and often with Starlink, they need the full-size MVAC nozzle tonight. So as per usual with Starlinks.
Yes, the good engine.
It's a good engine.
There we go. Thank you so much. I will thank some more people here with their support coming in. Starting with Ethereal Swordsman coming through again here with, actually I missed this 30 minutes ago. Also, Raptor Horizontal Stand at McGregor about to do another long burn. Likely going to be a little over 370 seconds. You called it. I mean, thank you so much for that. And that is about what happened. Matt with a stall message saying, Happy 20th anniversary, NSF. Thank you so much for all the amazing coverage and work. Let's hope for another 20 years of success. Thank you so much for that. I hope you enjoy your logo shirt. And we also hope for 20 more years of success. Ethereal Swordsman with another super chat saying, Falcon super heavy, 5-core Falcon heavy. At that point, you might be able to air start the central 5th core, though maybe crossfeed is worth by then. Land 2 RTLS, 2 drone ship, and expand the center core. I mean, crossfeed is kind of complicated.
Angara inspired Falcon vehicle. That's interesting.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, honestly, a 5-core Falcon launch vehicle would be very interesting, but maybe perhaps a bit overkill considering what they are engineering Starship to do in the future, and they already have Falcon Heavy in service. So
Also,
Well-
structurally, like the one thing that will always be problematic outside of Kerbal Space Program is you need a center core that can bear these loads, because technically everything will be attached to the center core, and that center core need to like withstand this. And the center core of Falcon Heavy is already significantly reinforced and redesigned because it has 2 side boosters pulling on it. Now imagine 4.
I think
Yeah.
Moldy Space has the next build.
I wouldn't be surprised if Moldy has already done this.
Which Moldy Space, by the way, in the Discord that we have here at NSF for Capcom and above. So very interested to see what she's able to put together with this now.
Holy
Yep,
crap, guys!
absolutely.
We are already at about T-9 minutes. Time flies. Look at that.
Time flies when you're having fun.
That's my
And
line.
I stole it. Nibbles with 5 red team memberships gifted, and also Apocalypse Cow Danger Moo with 5 red team memberships gifted. Thank you to so much for the support. Again, we couldn't do these late night Starlings, we couldn't do these like marathon coverage or a whole day without all of your support. And yeah, NSF has been around for 20 years, and you all help to extend it even further. So thank you for that. Let's see here if I have. This is actually a good one. Honestly, has Falcon 9 legitimately launched most operational satellites now? I mean, I think the answer is pretty safely yes, right?
I believe it was 60% of all the satellites in orbit either have been or will be by the time Starlink is done lifted by SpaceX. So I think it's safe to say if it's not at that point already, it's very close.
Yeah, I think. I mean, realistically, it's Starlink is such a huge part of the global launch market. Oh, apparently. Oh, I'm supposed to talk about this.
Media
Shortly
market.
before launch, we have shop.nasaspaceflight.com, and I actually want to highlight something here, and that is our new human spaceflight collection, which we released around Human Spaceflight Day, and that highlights that history around it with 2 amazing designs available on shirts and mugs and everything. But I also want to highlight these TPS water bottles, because we have been asked for water bottles for a long period of time, and we're getting really good feedback about these. Like, people really enjoy them. And we have 3 different water bottles depending on people's water bottle taste, because I know people just prefer different water bottles and like different kind of water bottle mechanisms. So you can now select the one you really like and show your love for the Starship program and TPS. And I think it's a really cool idea. Thanks for Lindsay for setting that up. And there's tons more. We have stickers, we have mugs, we have still some few patches left. There's some blankets. So I really think even besides shirts, there's so much in the store that you can just get, like beach towels. Do you like a Starbase beach towel? There you go. You
I want a
one
Starbase
now.
beach towel.
We should really update this design. It's kind of outdated. The skyline has changed. The skyline has changed so much. I mean, it's to be fair, it's a retro design. That's actually a good point. It's a retro design. It's becoming more retro over the years. There we go.
That's why it can't change, Adrian.
And also why you need to get it now, so you can say, I remember when it looked like this.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old days.
Back in my Starbase days.
Back in my Starbase days, they had tents.
They built a hopper in a tent, and it had a nose cone first, and then it tipped over, and then it... Okay.
Oh my god. That was not on my bingo card to hear Adrian's old man voice tonight.
I like old Adrian voice.
Old Adrian is interesting.
I'm glad you liked it. I have thanks to Dungeons and Dragons, I have 4 voices.
4?
That's all I can do. Yeah, I will not demonstrate them right
You know what? I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah, definitely. 5 minutes from now, we will, however, see a Starlink, hopefully launch from the historic LC-39A. As Falcon 9 here is in the final steps of being prepared for launch, which is also right now including engine chill, which Sawyer, I know you would gladly explain. Why is it so important that engines are chilled?
Yeah, I will gladly explain. So basically, what they need to do is they need to prepare the engines for the thermal shock that they are about to experience. Because keep in mind, you have very, very cold propellants, and then you will have very, very hot engines as the heat kind of goes through it. So what you do is you run some of that propellant through the engines to chill them down and get them ready ahead of time for that thermal load that they will experience. So it gives the engines enough time to basically be ready once it gets ignition time.
There we go. Thank you so much for that. And I believe at this point I'm usually supposed to let you go, Max, to go tracking, right?
Usually, but I'm not on a camera tonight. I'm just here talking to you
Ah.
guys, so I'm free to stand with you throughout the countdown. Actually, I'm not sure if any of our cameras are picking this up, but it's worth noting before we get to T0, we are seeing some lightning out over the Atlantic Ocean right now. Oh, that's actually really pretty. Wow. But it is
Yeah,
well
gorgeous.
out. Yeah, it is. It's well out over the Atlantic Ocean. It is not posing as any sort of threat or any factor into the countdown or launch tonight, because that all looks to be northeast of the launch pad, and of course Falcon 9 is not flying that way, and it looks to be far enough offshore as to not be triggering any of the Phase 1 or Phase 2 lightning warnings, either at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station or the Kennedy Space Center here. So, but it is very pretty. Very, very pretty.
There we go. Thank you so much for that, Max, for that quick lightning update. And I mean, at this point, everything looks good. And we are just standing by for the final 180 seconds before launch here. There's a quick question here. How will boosters be called once they reach over 99? Will it be B1100 or will it be B10100? I think it
Well,
will be B11. Yeah.
Well, first boosters have to get to that point, and the current plan is to at least to certify Falcon 9 boosters for 40 flights, which in itself is already insanity, considering just a few years ago 10 flights seemed like it was way too much. But 40 flights seems like that is the current milestone, but they have to get there first. But
is complete.
actually, good call out there. Stage 1 LOX load complete. They are wrapping up prop load aboard Falcon 9.
There you go. Just 150 seconds from now, we will see that Falcon 9. Of course, let's quickly talk about that ignition sequence, Sawyer. Falcon 9, of course, not using like standard plugs. How does Falcon 9 ignite its 9 Merlin engines?
Yeah, so they use something called TTEB, triethyl aluminum triethyl borate. So basically, what they do is they're pyrophoric, they combine, and then you get the kind of poof that you need to help ignite those engines. So if you ever see the green flash, that's what that is. It's the same thing with the Merlin vacuum engine that also uses TTEB. So you'll see that green flash once that ignites, and on the way down too.
Yeah, you will absolutely, especially in these night launches, you can.
Complete.
There we go. That's what we want to hear. You can see that green flash very, very pronounced. You will also be today, like most likely, seeing it very, very pronounced at the bottom of the rocket. That will ignite these 9 Merlin engine that will power the Falcon 9. And this particular booster, for the first time, at this point, we are just 20 seconds away from the Falcon 9 board computer taking over the launch countdown. There we go. They will soon call out this final step where the Falcon 9 launch computer takes over the countdown. From there on out, it's all the rocket as the star. 5 seconds from now, we should hear that call out. Or in a bit, actually. There's some delay. And
Falcon 9 is in startup.
there we go. The rocket computer has taken over that countdown now. Final go for launch pending.
Just so you know, I will hop off comms real quick. I will be back on once it's in the air.
Talk to you after that, Sawyer. And we have just received go for launch. And with that, the rocket is good to go. Again, look at the bottom of the rocket. You will see the deluge system of the pad spooling up first. After that, you will see the T-tap igniting. There you can already see some vapors there. There's the deluge system igniting. And now watch for the green flash. There it is. And we have 9 Merlin engines. And we have liftoff. Liftoff of the Falcon 9, flying for the first time with a new booster and carrying Starlink 12-10 for more internet satellite connectivity. Let's listen in.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
That was loud.
Max Q.
Absolutely, but that looked gorgeous.
It's always stunning watching Falcon 9 take a southeast flight path off of Pad A. Because from here at the price side, you have a much more sight-on profile of it.
And there you can
By the way,
see
the sound just reaching the port, in case you can't tell through my mic.
the red streak just going through
I'm back, chill.
the sky. And you will now approach Miko main engine cutoff, which will happen in about 30 seconds from now. And that will be the moment where the first stage has done the lifting duty. And then the second stage will kick in.
Great
It is
view
spacey
of
tonight.
the... Yeah, it absolutely is. Great view of the exhaust from all 9 Merlin 1Ds in the first stage, expanding as the ambient pressure around them decreases, changing from orange to red and now to blue before it fades to until Miko in just a few seconds from now.
There it comes. Watch for the stage shutdown. There it is. Stage shutdown and separation. And you could even see the... I think you could even see the green flash there.
You can
Yeah,
see
there
the
it
green
is.
flash.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah, you could see it very clearly.
Wow.
Miko.
That's the T-Tab, folks.
Stage separation confirmed.
That was beautiful. You can see it now here in the SpaceX replay.
I'm back, startup.
There's the green flash. Whoosh. And that's a healthy Merlin vacuum engine. And now,
Still-
that booster has to land for the first time.
By the way, we're still getting rumbles over here at the port.
Well, we will see how that booster does for the first landing. Again, landing on a shortfall of Gravitas. Stationed downrange.
Bearing separation confirmed.
There you can see the Starlink satellites. You can also see the clear difference between the direct-to-cell and the normal Starlink satellites. That's still D-tracking, right?
I believe this is one of our robots here on the hut tracking
Oh.
it. No, this is Gauge tracking
Gauge.
on one of the robots. Okay, this is one
Okay,
of these
that's
feeds.
D. Oh yeah, you can see the noise of the robot trackers a bit. In the black. That's crazy. Like that's D's track still. I mean that thing is still like a few almost 150 kilometers or so away.
It's not close, and we still have a clear visual of it. And because of how clear the night is overall, not so much toward the northeast, but where Falcon 9 is going, there's a very good chance that we will be able to see entry burn all the way over here on Florida Space Coast, even though that is happening many hundreds of miles downrange.
It is still
Oh my God.
beautifully clear here. Again, the rumble's still being heard at the port. So that's about, what, 10-ish miles away, Max?
I think maybe a little bit more from where you are. I know it's obviously closer to Slick 40 because that is a more southern launch pad, but I want to say you're closer to maybe it's somewhere in the 10 to 15 mile mark, probably closer to 15, but it's still not a bad view whatsoever.
No, and the sound, again, the fact the sound is still going how many minutes into flight, that's just the air tonight was perfect for it. And yes, you can still see stage 2. Shout out to the team continuing to track it too.
This, by the way, is the 4th orbital launch on this day from the planet.
And the 4th, that's for an internet constellation too.
Yeah, it's all internet satellites constellation. It's SatNet Leo Group 03 in China on a Long March 5B. Then we have Starlink 11.9 from Vandenberg. Then we have Kuiper from Cape Canaveral. And now we have Starlink 12-10 from LC39A. So 4 different giant internet satellite constellation launching on the same day. Like 3 different on 4 different rockets.
We should be coming up on first stage entry burn in just a few seconds, and we will see the ignition of the center Merlin engine on the first stage, followed by 2 of the outers to counter and add a bit more deceleration force to slow Falcon 9 to a velocity to where when it re-enters the atmosphere, it will not be tearing itself apart. As Sawyer likes to say, they're fighting fire with fire.
Hey, you stole my line.
That's a T-tap.
And there we go. There's 1 engine. Then now
3.
That's 3.
3 engines, yep.
You can see the line.
And they will shut the engines down in the same order.
Yep.
So they are at 3 now.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
Down to 1. And shut down.
Alex is saying a total of 110 satellite launch today.
Now seeing some plasma building up. Oh, Kevin! You're seeing some plasma build up on the grid fins there as it began to re-enter the atmosphere.
I mean, that's insane, though, that Gage still has that.
Yeah, beautifully done, Gage.
Absolutely insane.
It was an okay track, Gage.
Fine, that
everyone watching, I'm joking.
That's
just how Gage and I talk to each other. It's fine.
They are like that. You should have heard the last 3 hours. We'll not go into detail. I'm not spilling the beans.
Stage 1 transonic.
What beans are there to spill, Adrian? I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a very good breakfast, beans. Anyway, here we come up with the landing burn. That should start up very soon. Beans are an amazing breakfast, especially with toast. But
anyway,
we are seeing the drone chip on the left side there.
That's the light on the left-hand side of your screen.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Entry burn has begun.
Landing burn ignition.
Stage 2
I love watching
guidance.
I love watching the grid fins work in their last few seconds of being useful in the airflow before it slows down too much.
Deploy.
Good view of a shortfall at Gravitas.
And touchdown! For the first time for a new Falcon 9 booster, we can say a successful landing on a shortfall of Gravitas.
Love to see the new boosters entering the fleet. May it reach 20 flights very soon.
There we go.
It'll be here before we know it.
Alex is saying that booster read the instruction and knew how to land.
Albeit, honestly, it's worth pointing out that normally we're used to boosters landing dead in that outline circle in the middle of the deck. That one was pretty far off, but that is a quirk that we've seen with brand new boosters in the past, and maybe the avionics on board have to learn the flight path and just through different experience and how, because I'm sure each booster flies a little bit different compared to the next one because it's such a huge vehicle.
Yeah.
But it still landed safely, and we should be seeing it back in Port Canaveral in just about 2 days.
It can learn over time. It's a baby.
It's just a baby booster. It's fine.
It's like a baby booster.
Baby booster.
No, Sawyer.
Oh,
No.
I had to do it. Come on.
No, you didn't. Stop it.
You didn't. You absolutely didn't have to do it.
You even have. Oh God, Sawyer, you are cooked.
Well, I'll show you
Cooked.
one thing I definitely did have to do in just a couple of seconds once I get it uploaded.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's also replays coming. So yeah, that, by the way, what you see there from the GE, a bit of like liquid and everything, that's normal. Everything is good. That
It's
TE will
fine.
actually start to move back usually in a few minutes from now.
Yeah, usually the transporter erector over at like 40 tends to be vertical again at the pad within probably 10 to 15 minutes. It's probably a little bit slower at 39A considering the TE is of a different design and the systems are not quite the same. Pad A is not necessarily designed with rapid reuse in mind like 40 is, but we should be seeing it going vertical in just a few minutes.
Yep, and also if you see a bit of fire, that is usually T-tab burn off. That's also very normal. I think we can even see a bit of smoke there, but like they burn off the remaining T-tab because T-tab tends to be not that healthy for humans nearby. So what you usually do is you burn it off and make sure it's fully gone. So yeah.
Plus the fact that we normally don't get to see it over at pad 40 just because of where the bushes and things are. We have a much clearer view of it at 39A, which is why we don't typically see it from 40.
I think we could see a bit of smoke there from the usual spot where we see T-tab burn off. So yeah, it's happening and it's normal. It's all good. And that is, of course, as Alex also saying in the background, that's the T-tab that they're using to light up the 9 engines on the ground. And then they have containers on 3 engines, and these 3 engines are lighted up by these 3 additional containers. It's not any engine they can ignite. They can only ignite a select 3 that have these installed containers. And that's the only 3 that have relight capabilities. Everything else is just ground started, and once it's out, it's out. Engine 1, 5, and 9, Alex is saying. Thank you, Alex. Okay. TE still a bit smoky, but that's normal. And so far, what we can tell, this was a pretty picturesque Starlink in the middle of the night.
Yes, not quite as late as they have gotten before. I mean, I'd much rather have this happen at 10:30 at night as opposed to 3 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, it looked like business as usual, and it looks like that left landing leg on 1069. Oh, wait, is this a replay?
Sure. Oh,
sky's getting brighter.
That's a replay with the
This is
booster.
a replay.
Oh, just wait. Just you wait. I cooked with it.
Oh, wait, this is your video, Sawyer?
No, but I have a shot still.
But look at it behind it. That's so cool. That's a brilliant idea, Kevin, as well.
It's such a cool sight to actually see that, just saying, to the transition of it from night to day, and then, oh yeah, the old and the new.
Crazy.
How dare you call 1069 old?
That's kind of old.
I mean...
You call me old, so why not?
When have I called you old?
A couple times.
That's not true. False. Fake news.
There it goes up on the right side. A bit like a quick, small sun just rising.
It's artificial sunrise, and it will always look like that until the end of time. And that is just one of the byproducts of a Carolox and liquid oxygen combustion. Also, what's with solid rocket motors, too.
Oh my god, Sawyer. I just saw the back channel.
One more incoming, yep.
But that's really cool. But that's beautiful. I will get to that. Sorry, we just reacted to something you couldn't see on stream because we are like that.
We're great at this.
Everybody.
Yeah, we are really great at this. We are doing this professionally, by the way. Here we go. Closer angle. There she goes. And smoking the pad.
The beauty of 39A is we have more of our remote cameras that we can point right at it and get these awesome views.
100%.
Is 39A better pad to film?
1000%. It is. Well, for one thing, we have a direct view of it from the hut here, and as opposed to Slick 40, where we have to march out to the lawn here to get a view of it. It's about 1,000-foot walk. Doesn't sound far, but it's not an easy hike. Certainly not with hundreds of pounds of gear with you. But yeah, Pad A is not only is it closer to the KSE, but it is also a much more picturesque launch pad in our
Less
opinion.
less obstructed views too from our
Much
view
less
spot.
obstructed, absolutely.
There you go. You can see how it like turns the night to day for a moment. Also the reflection pond in the bottom right. Wow. And then it's like suddenly darkness again. Oh, I always love these wide angles.
This is actually a great depiction of what it looks like to your naked eye. I know cameras, videos, and pictures will never do it justice. They never will, no matter how good the technology gets. But this is a very close depiction of what it looks like to your eye. It is an artificial sunrise, full stop.
That's so crazy. It's so bright.
Just wait until we see Starship launch at night, man. That's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with that pink exhaust.
I mean, we saw New Glenn fly at night, and that was our first time seeing a large methane-powered rocket launch at night. So we know how roughly the BE force exhaust will look, but the Raptors, what?
Was that a lightning on that camera at the end?
Yes, I told you there was lightning back there. We have audio with this one, it sounds like, so we will keep our voices down.
Yep.
And never mind.
And there it flies up. I love this red. Dang.
Lovely.
Very
Oh, yeah.
lovely.
We could watch this like 1,000 times over and we'll still grow silent every single time.
We are kind of approaching very rapidly 1,000 times.
I mean, you're not wrong. Adrian, you're not wrong.
It's like, yes, it's still far away, but it's not that far away. It's like, I'm just saying. There's the green flash and then the ignition of the second stage. There it is. Whoop.
That green flash was so obvious tonight. It was spectacular.
Adrian, is that how it goes? Whoop.
Yeah, the whoop.
Whoop. Okay. No, I thought
That's
that was
how
Titan too.
That's how T-Tap sounds. Whoop. I'm a professional, by the way. Cool. There's the Oscar outro music. Yep, I got that coming. Cool. Let me thank some people though. I will ignore the music for now. Let me first thank Ethereal Swordsman with another $5 super chat saying, now Falcon's gonna get hit by an upper atmospheric discharge like a Sprite or Blue Jet or something. Up atmospheric lightning is very cool. I agree. It's very, very cool. Actually, it's quite hot. Biteford also coming in with 5 Red Team memberships gifted. Thank you so much, Biteford. So sorry I just read this. And then we have Michael Relier with 5 Red Team memberships gifted. And this is a picture from Sawyer.
I love how the one landing leg is raised, so it looks like it's waving goodbye to 1094.
Hello,
yeah, like a single salute, like good luck and welcome to the fleet. And we're pretty sure 1094.
Good chance it's 1094. And there's I love this because it has almost like a I don't know, the vibe is kind of cool. The bit of mist.
Yeah, the little bit of haze that's around the way that the lights hit right here at the port, and it just went right through the arm of the crane as they were working on lifting the legs on 1069. So it worked out perfectly with this shot. I'm very happy with these.
Thank you so much for these, Sawyer. They are absolutely amazing. And
Of course.
With that, I'm looking at the back channel. Is this when I'm starting to say goodbye to people, Kevin? I think it is that time. Sawyer, thank you so much for being on today on the Starlink and also on the Kuiper earlier.
Oh yeah, that was all today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian. It's good to be here. Great to be on. And let's do this again. I don't know, a couple days. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. I think my that works for me. Wonderful. And also in the field today, and also in a helicopter today, was Max Evans.
Indeed. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in and coming to hang out with us. We know you probably have better things to do with your time, but we are always grateful, and just it's awesome to see y'all come back. And you are the only reason why we are able to come back ourselves. So thank you very much, everybody, and we will hopefully see you again in a couple days, or tomorrow morning, actually, for the next one.
Thank you so much for that, Max. And then also we had in the field the Wise today with the tracking, and also out there for Atlas as well. I mean, everybody here is like had a long day, so thank you so much for that, D, as well. And then with Gage tracking today as well. Thank you so much, Gage, for that long track as well. I'm Adrian Bile. I was your host, and I also want to quickly thank Kevin Michael Reed, who has now done this one, Atlas, and Firefly this morning. So absolute madman. Thank you so much, Kevin, for this. And with that, I think we have a slow-mo to show you, and we will see you all at the next stream.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Probably not. Roger, with planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside FTE off. Bring in FTE off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
If the methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?